girl. So Savor, which is a startup based in Northern California. I forgot specifically where.
Always California.
It's
man.
always is. The creative minds are
always
in the
us.
States. So, but they're, as of now, what they've created, which isn't on the market yet, maybe next year or so, butter from the air. And I
Hey.
mean that literally. So when you look at the fats behind what a butter is, it's like the triglycerides. When you break down anything for, let's say, it's all the same basic elements.
Yeah.
And so instead of using plants or animals to create butter, why don't you just take the carbon from the air, methane, any carbon dioxide, any of it, and then what you have to do, hydrocarbon synthesis. So they're going to be taking carbon, let's say carbon dioxide, methane from the air to create butter that we can use. Because when you look at anything, it's the same. Is that how you eat it?
I love butter so much,
I
dude.
do too. Like a buttered pastry, there's nothing
Yeah.
greater than that, right?
If you don't know what to put in something to make it better,
Add
butter.
some butter. Like your
Butter.
pie
Yeah.
from
that
Thanksgiving.
That crust is
was
pure
pure butter. Amazing. Well,
Yeah,
then one day you
so
can make your
good.
pies with air butter from Savor.
I'll do
So they'll take carbon dioxide, methane, extract the carbon, and then a process called, so the carbon atoms are combined with hydrogen. Essentially, they're using hydrogen and oxygen from water to, under high heat and pressure, to create long hydrocarbon chains. And then these hydrocarbons are oxidized into fatty acids and then reassembled into triglycerides, which we know are like the basis of all fats, right?
So that you're heating
So,
it.
and then which are the fundamental building blocks of fat. And you can add coloring to it. You could add oils like rosemary for some flavor. They make butter that is identical to what you could extract from a cow.
Is it on the market?
It's not just yet. It'll come out, I want to say maybe 2027, but there are
Oh.
bakeries and restaurants within that area that are using it. So in their pastries and their products already, and they say they can't tell a difference, which is really cool.
Oh, it's just not for like the public. It's
Not
for
yet. It will be. It's still
Cisco.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still relatively new, but it will be available. That's at least our goal, is to make this butter available for the public within the next year or two.
Is it going to be as good as Kerrygold? I don't know.
Girl, well, okay, this is the concern.
Kerrygold.
I was watching videos, I was reading comments, and people, because everyone's so adverse to change, are like not for it. I am all for it because I understand, like I said, that the fundamental building blocks of everything are elements. And so who gives a shit where it comes
You can
from?
assemble it.
Yes, it's the same
Yeah.
triglycerides without the harm to cows, without the pollution in the sky and the water. You don't have to or agriculture doesn't have to destroy land anymore in order to create dairy.
It's a mess.
So, and the numbers here, which let me pull up.
Culinary alchemy.
What the hell is that?
That's what it is, right? It's like culinary.
Oh, culinary
Alchemy.
alchemy. I think it's
Yeah.
culinary. I'm
Colon. Also colonoscopy.
also that.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
you're just assembling things to make.
Yes. So who gives a shit if it doesn't come from the process that you grew up knowing? That's what life is about. That's why we've gotten to where we are, is because shit changes and shit
Honestly,
advances.
it's one of those things where it's like, just shut up and eat it.
Yes.
We don't even
Would
care
you
about your
have
opinion at this
known?
point.
Yeah, we would give you a croissant made with butter from a cow and a croissant made with Savor butter. And I guarantee you
don't
can't tell a
even- yeah.
difference. Traditional butter production generates 5.2 to 14.7 kgs of CO2 equivalent per kg. That's a shit ton.
Yeah, that is
So
a lot.
Savor process generates less than 0.8 grams of CO2. So it's a reduction of over 99% of emissions in the sky. It's almost nothing. And then it also uses less than 1,000th of the water required by traditional agriculture. So, I mean,
It's like a no-brainer.
it is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
if it tastes the same.
Yeah, then who cares? Again,
Who
they're
cares?
they're cutting the corners of nature. They're just going
Yeah.
from the element to the process here versus it having to be digested through the animal or the plant and then us doing whatever we do with that.
This is one of those things where people know just enough
Yeah.
to argue on why they don't like it, but
Yeah.
not enough to understand why it's going to work.
Yes, it's that Dunning-Kruger
They're
thing
right
again.
in that space where I'm like, because the exoplanet thing, when on that video that Dakota posted, and everybody was like, well, you don't know if it works like that everywhere. The universe is big. We're talking about fundamental laws. Just because I'm sitting here and you're sitting there doesn't mean that a law is going to change.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
right? And the distance between me and the other side of the galaxy really, in this regard, makes it's negligible.
Yeah.
It's still the same laws. It's still the
That
same
it permeate the
universe.
universe, exactly.
Yeah, because we're saying these are the laws of the known universe. If
Yeah.
there's a new universe that
Then
is
it abides by its own rules.
right, like the
Yeah.
T-symmetry theory, which again, you know what's funny? I've heard that physicists don't really learn so much about that. It's more of like mathematicians like that one, which I
Yeah,
thought was
'cause
interesting.
I've not heard of
Yeah,
T-symmetry.
every time I talk to a physicist, they're like, "What?" And I'm like,
Mm.
"I feel like we brought that up so much in school."
Mm.
But yeah, that's just the idea that another universe alongside ours is time running backwards,
Oh,
and that's
gotcha.
their normal. So it's just this all of the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
If we're saying there's a planet there, and that same person arguing like, "Well, maybe it's not the same laws," you could apply it to that
Yeah.
because yeah, we don't know about all the laws over there, so that could be true. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe because of entropy, a planet could be a different shape, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. At that point, I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it
Yeah.
because you're right. We don't know anything about that, but
Yeah.
we're talking about this universe,
Yes,
yo.
exactly.
Like, I don't know what this.
Interstellar never said that it left. It just went to another part of the galaxy.
Yeah, right. It's like
That's all
still
it was.
home.
Yeah.
It's
So
just yeah. So
yeah.
when people talk about food, especially the whole GMO thing, which I'm not even gonna get into because
Yeah, I know.
like
Yeah.
but like yeah,
Yeah.
it's just alchemy, dude.
Yeah.
Really, we're taking the building blocks, we're moving it around, making something new.
Yeah.
It is chemically the same exact
It's
thing.
the same
I don't know what
exact
to tell
thing.
you.
We're actually cutting steps, and it's better for everybody and everything and all living things, even the cows. So I actually was surprised to see that backlash, but I shouldn't be surprised anymore because most people fall into that category. Again, of also not trusting the experts. You don't think the fucking chemists with PhDs know more about this shit?
I know.
About triglycerides than you?
And they do
You
it
probably
for a
never even heard of that
living.
word. Yes.
It's their job.
Yes.
Can you imagine if I came into your job and told you how to do it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, that's not how that
Actually,
works.
But no. But when it comes to science, everybody thinks that they know more than the experts, which is why this country is in the state that it's in. So
It's not just here. It's not just here, actually.
it?
No, when I was living in Portugal, I saw it there too.
So
I saw
it's
it
pretty
everywhere
much
in
first
Europe.
world countries are going through this anti-science revolution.
I kind of think it's actually global because
Not India, girl. Parents there wouldn't allow that.
northern or southern.
Well, I'm from the south. So
Yeah,
good
see,
point.
that's
Yeah.
a question I've learned to ask.
Yeah.
With all my Indian friends, and now I'm like north or south, and they're like,
Actually, yeah.
I think it's a global thing only because the internet is accessible everywhere. Like the joke I always have with my old roommate who used to travel a lot with me is even in the Middle East, there's always a satellite dish.
Yeah.
Like even like a tent will have a satellite dish. It's just
Yeah.
so funny, and you're like, everybody has access.
Oh, God.
And so if you're digesting the same garbage that you and I could watch, like we could be this person who's like, the earth is flat, and we're like, whatever, keep scrolling. That video can still pop up over there, and they watch it too. But they don't have access maybe to like a library, if anybody even uses those anymore.
I know. The homeless.
They don't have the same resources to education. You know, in America, you have to be in school until at least 16 years old. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just a different environment, so it's more dangerous. I think it's statistically 30% of people after they graduate from whatever their final state was, high school, college, will never pick up a book again. And it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be that medium. That's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be the news or watching a YouTube video. It can be whatever medium you want.
Yeah.
But the fact that you basically lose interest in learning is the
yeah.
problem. And that's what scares me because then you have the hyper specific groups who, you know, they get PhDs, they have jobs like ours where we have to be up to date all of the time.
Yeah.
So we're always reading about it. You know, you have this isolated group of people who they're on it.
Mm-hmm.
And their group is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Right? And most of the world is just getting left behind.
Yeah.
And that gap is like why I do this.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is really hard to hear people fight back like that. It's
I
like, it's not the
know.
same butter. And I'm
I
like,
know, and you're like, okay, well, when generations ago they invented cars, like,
Oh, I know.
do you never just want progress, but yet want to reap the benefits of it? Like, it doesn't make sense.
according to my grandparents, cars did freak people out. in
I'm
the
sure it
beginning.
did. Change,
Yeah,
ultimately,
yeah.
change
does
always
freak everybody
will.
out.
Let's say in 15 years, if Savor becomes, I hope they do. I hope any startup like that becomes like mainstream, and people are like, oh, okay, this isn't killing me because why the fuck would it anyway?
Yeah.
And then I think people will adapt. And then to be fair, we tend to see a lot of negativity because I also was thinking
It's
the
true.
people who are
We're targets.
yeah,
We're targets
when
for
the
it.
people who are doing the science don't have time to sit there on YouTube and comment away. So
Yeah.
we're seeing the people who have nothing else to do represent most of the population who are negative against anything innovative.
If I were Savor, I wouldn't tell anybody how it was working.
Right.
Try my butter, dude. Try my butter.
And I'll tell you after.
You know, yeah, or maybe
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
And that's even scarier because what choice does progress have if every time you come up with something, people want to shoot it down, and because they don't understand it, it's like, you're almost better off
Just
not
not even
saying it
saying
at
shit.
all.
Yeah.
And that's even worse. And there's no winning. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how people don't realize that they're the problem
Yeah.
of progress.
I try to use as much plant-based alternatives before I become air-based, I guess. Amazing.
Which is awesome. Yeah. Can you imagine
Exactly.
just like,
I'm air-based,
butter.
guys.
Dude, I would be so down
That would
for
be
that.
amazing. Like, oh, I'm getting low sugars. All right, back at it again. One day, maybe we'll evolve into that before our stupidity kills us off. But I use Earth Balance, and I've never seen ads for them. So,
Earth Balance, I've
and
heard
I
of
love
them.
it,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's an alternative that really nailed it. I'm all for it. They're not paying me to say this, guys.
Yeah.
Any startup that does shit like this. Oh, you know what's also
I'll just eat
insane?
butter.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't care
I'm
where
down
it comes
for
from.
it.
I'm like,
butter. But I saw on the news, because that's how I heard about Savor, was there are Republican states that are pushing legislation, and I'm gonna have to correct myself on this, but you can't say you're like a meat alternative. You can't apparently use that
what do they want you to
word.
say? It's
Just
like global warming is climate change.
I think it's something like, let's say, a Beyond Burger. I think maybe you can't call it a burger. They're literally breaking it down to the
Oh,
verbiage.
because it's false advertising? Is that the
But
argument?
it's probably a push by, like, big farm, big agriculture, like lobbying. And because
Ugh,
Republicans
it's
or like
Monsanto.
both parties are just so anti each other, something like Savor seems to be very liberal because it's pro climate change, as in like
Sure.
they're anti climate change. You know what I mean? They believe it. Let's start with that. So now the Republican states, because they hate anything we do and vice versa, they're like, well, fuck you and your climate change and your hippie bullshit. We're going to pass legislation to be like, you can't even use those words. You can't call it a burger unless it's made from cow or whatever animal. And I'm like, this is
God.
such petty bullshit. Like, this is what
They're
we
just
care
wasting
about.
their time.
Yeah. So
I
get outta
I
here.
will say the carbon, the only argument that people might have on the hate is carbon capture is a huge energy drain on the grid. But I had recently posted a video of this one researcher at the University of Helsinki. And so the problem with carbon capture, to make the butter, first of all, right, is that you have to suck it in from the air. Fine. Just regular outdoor air. And then you have to go through a chemical extraction process. That consumes a lot of energy. That's where the problem is. This researcher found a way to, what was it? It was alcohol and it was a super base. But anyway, they like mix and match for a year and they got this product.
Okay.
It's in liquid form and it can just sit there and it does it, which is great because then it's not consuming all this energy to get the carbon separated from all the other molecules that are in the air. They have to turn it into a solid because obviously that has more surface area. Oxygen moves through it better. Air moves through it easier. And it's like a great idea and it's really simple and it's elegant. It's just like sand that you just throw on the ground and it absorbs carbon dioxide out of the air. Great, perfect.
Yeah.
Right? I see no problem with it. Man, the amount of hate.
There's a part of me that thinks they feel insecure when they see incredible science people doing shit they don't understand. So this is like their way of inputting.
Maybe.
Like, oh, I also know stuff. Which, of course, the average person probably does, but you're never going to know as much as the expert guys. They know what they're doing.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I think it's just like it triggers a slight insecurity. When they actually don't understand it fully, they're like, well, this carbon, we need that. Yes, and nobody's saying we're taking it all out of the atmosphere. That's insane, but we have an excess. It'd be great if people were more openly wanting to admit that they don't understand it, and then that's okay.
I say it all
I don't
the
either,
time.
and I have to figure it out too. So
I love when the four of us on that podcast that we did when we were all hanging out the other day, and like how easily all of us are like, "What is that? I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
You know, like literally nobody there cares, and everybody's really smart.
It's so fun. All
And
we're
you're
doing is asking questions.
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you think? I forgot what the fuck it was I asked. There was something of
You were
I can't
asking,
remember.
I thought you had like
remember.
a sheet because you were like, okay, question number 1. Like you had so many questions. Like,
Yeah.
damn, is there?
But just even like weird hypothetical things. There
Yeah.
was one that I thought was actually fun. I came up with it in the moment. Whatever it was, but it's like, let's pick the brains of people who know better or who are well educated enough to have really cool opinions about
And sometimes
things.
we didn't have answers right away.
No, not at all.
And we're
We
like,
had to really think
oh
about
yeah, I don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just normalize that. Like,
Yeah, right?
who here cares?
Right. Because even like, let's say that person put it in question form, like, oh, but don't we need carbon? I can work with that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, we need carbon, so your shit is dumb. Like, that's essentially what they're
I'm
trying
like.
to say.
I check out. I astral project again. I'm just like,
oh my God. To save our sanity because it's depressing to see the state of this world.
you know what's tough
Yeah.
too is like, I'm so bad at pitching it, but like, dude, college sucked.
Mm.
Like, I don't even think I could sell it. You know, to be like,
Yeah.
no, because it is good for you. And I do think if you can't afford it, or
Yeah.
you get a scholarship or whatever, or you know exactly what you want to do,
Yeah.
and you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and you got to go through the whole
Yeah, yeah.
all those things, then you have to go to college. I totally support it. I was so miserable in college. I had such a rough time. I did not enjoy an inch of it. I think the end of my senior year was the only time, which ironic that like the end of senior year was when I was like, okay, for undergrad anyway. Grad school I think would have been different if COVID didn't happen and we all like
Gotcha.
left. Grad school seemed pretty chill, but like the amount of work that you have to do, especially in something like mathematics, I'm sure physics is brutal too. I'm sure all the sciences are brutal in their own way. It's like, yeah, how do I sell this? Like, how am I like...
You're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, like, it's gonna suck,
But it'll be
guys.
rewarding if you stick with it.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a nightmare and you're gonna want to die. I'm like,
Yeah.
and it's such a terrible, painful path to take that's so necessary that I'm like, I kind of get why you don't know this stuff. I kind of get why you don't want to do it, and I don't know how to make this interesting for you.
Sure.
If we go too deep. That's what's so nice about social media. It's a 90-second little like, bloop,
And it's surface level.
a little surface taste.
Yeah, which is great for me.
Yeah.
because I don't know deeper than that, so.
I mean, I do want to do like the 10 to 12 minute ones where we go like a little bit deeper.
Sure.
But even then, I know when I'm writing those scripts, I can feel the sections where I'm going to lose people. Because we're getting a little too deep now.
Yeah,
and you have to think a little hard. And I'm like, what I think is going to happen for companies like Savor too is they're going to start to hire, I don't know if we'd call them consultants, I don't know, but just experts in social media that I've learned how to communicate what they're selling in a way that's digestible to the public, because there's an art to it that these companies are not
No,
nailing.
they're not good at, because they're run by nerds, like extreme nerds.
Or business people who also
don't know how to communicate.
Yeah.
They're like people at the top of their field. They're not the messengers like we are.
Yeah.
There's only so many messengers in the world.
I
Hey,
think
we
it's
just
gonna
gave
get
them some
there.
free PR just now.
I know.
I'm happy to do a paid post
Dude,
down the line. So.
Helion Fusion, I mean, they got a department for all that, and they have like, and dude, the girl who runs it is just on her shit, and it's like,
smart.
yeah, it is smart because
Yeah.
their Instagram page is up to date, like everything that they're advertising, and they're so good at communicating what they're doing, and they have the advanced stuff and they have the beginner digestible stuff.
Yeah.
So they're just running
That's
it well.
really cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is what every STEM company on the planet needs to be doing.
and at this point, they should all be aware of that. It's funny.
They're fighting it because they think we're influencers.
That word is kind of
like,
destroyed. Yeah.
You know, like, here's what to drink, here's
Destroyed
what to
what
eat,
this-
here's what to wear.
Right.
It's like, dude, we're not doing that.
I know. Majority of
just
the
like-
videos are non-paid, guys. We're taking time out of our lives.
Well, I mean, yeah, like
to-
the apps themselves pay, but the sponsorships
yes,
are
the
different.
sponsorships
Yeah,
are
yeah.
like, you know, they're
Those are
not that
rare.
common. They're kind of few and far between.
Dude, I do
So-
one every 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't like
and
doing
so
them.
far for me, mostly it's been entertainment, which is great
Yeah.
because that's actually primarily what I work
perfect.
in. But that works. But no, I agree. These companies really need to catch up with finding out that communication is the key to everything these days in this day and age.
Yeah,
And
critical.
and it's fine to admit that you having a PhD don't know how.
Yeah.
So therefore you hire people.
Well,
that
they
do.
got their own issues admitting that, too.
Yeah. Oh, that's
There's
the thing,
stereotypes in the
too.
PhD world, too, man.
You're
Like,
dealing
there's-
with a lot of egos there.
yeah,
itself.
it's just ego everywhere. It's just humans suck.
You know, and I remember, just real quick to backtrack, with Savor, I forgot the details, so I'm not going to get into it, but they did address how they are extracting carbon, and it might be
They're using renewable energy to do it instead
right.
of to like do the burning process or whatever it is to chemically separate carbon from the other molecules. Yeah, they're using like, I think they said wind and solar and all that to,
Yeah, exactly.
to power that.
It's a win. You have to have a little sacrifice, whether there is some sense of pollution with the process.
The sacrifice
that's
is,
fine.
is no more Kerrygold. That's the sacrifice. I'm like, but my Kerrygold, my
I'm
Irish
going to give
butter.
you a blind taste test. One's Kerrygold, one will be Savor.
I could not look at it because I know the color of Kerrygold so
They
well.
they can mimic that shit too.
I'll know.
How do I
know
point it
that's
to my
the
phone?
Irish.
Savor can mimic that shit too,
Because
girl.
Savor's butter looks light, like a light color, like it's a
Slightly,
light yellow.
it's not as gold.
And Kerrygold is like
They can fix
literal
that.
gold.
It's not literal gold.
It's literal.
We have to be careful how we use that
It's gold
word.
for my spirit. You know what's so funny? After we were talking about how we're probably going to be judged for eating meat, after we did that podcast, like a week later, we hadn't put the podcast out. I hadn't told anybody what we had talked
The
about.
phones
One
listened.
of my friends had called me and then eventually went on a tirade about, and he eats meat. And he was like, you know what I was thinking about the other day? I was eating a burger and he's like, this shit's kind of fucked.
I mean, yeah.
And he just had a moment
He had
where
an epiphany.
he was really
Yeah.
just thinking about it as he was eating. He's like, I know the red that comes out isn't necessarily blood. It's like something else, right? And he was like, but I was thinking about it as if it was blood. And he's like,
Hemoglobin.
this is messed up. And he was like, I think they're going to judge us one day for this. And I was just cracking up because I'm like, oh my God, we were all just talking about this.
We're all just talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he went off on a tirade on how he's like, I love eating meat, but if there's a substitute, I will eat it. He's like, we're going to get judged so hardcore. And he was saying how he's like, this is going to be like slavery. Like, it's normal to us, and we're going to be like, what's the big deal? Yeah, cognitive dissonance. We know it's messed up, but we also kind of want the product.
Yeah.
He's like, it's going to be the same thing, and they're all going to look back at us and be like, you monsters, how could you do that? And I was like, damn, that's a really good point.
That is.
Yeah.
It's just we evolve in that way where certain things seemed fine at the time, because in this case too, they're not human. So the idea of dehumanizing is even greater. But since like the vegan movement started decades ago, it's becoming more clear to people, and you can't deny it. Whether you are pro meat, you're not going to give it up. Fine, that's your choice.
They feel pain though.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
they're suffering for sure.
I don't know someone who still would be like, yeah, obviously they do suffer. It doesn't. I don't care necessarily, but don't lie and say that you're not aware that suffering occurs.
I can't speak for every Catholic, Christian, church, or whatever, but when I was a kid, religion pitched that animals don't feel pain like humans do.
Yeah, and I wonder why.
That was really hardcore. They were really aggressive about it too.
I don't understand.
They don't feel, they're not like humans. They don't go to heaven, like all of this stuff. And I was like, as a child, that's traumatizing when you have a dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, and you really believe all that stuff, you know, and you're just like, oh my God. But I don't know.
In the Western world, I remember like, growing up in Ohio, was one of the few minorities, but like friends with Christian families, they would be like, yeah, animals were made for our need. And I'm like, holy shit, shut the fuck up. Because in the East, we don't believe that. I mean, there's like a hierarchy to life because of rebirth, and like being born a human is the highest form, but it doesn't discount the fact that these are living things.
I think a golden retriever is the highest form.
My dogs, the way our pets live, 100%.
Yeah.
But so like the Eastern way of respecting the world, or the way natives did it. I'm not saying
something funny though. The irony of it, the most insane teacher that I had, that like brain was Indian.
Really?
Yeah,
Indian Christians are on another level.
The things she like convinced us were real. We used to do dream interpretation mornings. What the
What the hell is that?
Yeah. I was sitting near the window, and I was looking out the window, and there was a power line, and there were two birds sitting on it, and I was just so bored. I'm just staring at the birds, right? Okay. And so that is important. She's going around being like, does anybody remember their dream last night? And like most kids couldn't remember.
Yeah.
And then she looked at me and was like, what was your dream last night? And I do remember my dreams usually.
I do too, yeah.
But I was just, I don't know. I think I was starting to kind of like come out of the fever dream at that point in my life. And I remember I was like, I saw two birds. And like literally I was just kind of like
making it up,
reading it off of what I was seeing out the window. And she did an interpretation of that.
And it's supposed to mean something.
Yeah, and then, I'm the kid who goes home and tells my mom, and my mom's like, that can't be real.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, they're crazy.
They're crazy.
Get me out of the school.
Yeah.
I'll never forget her because it was just like she showed us a picture of dinosaur footprints in the sand next to human footprints. The Earth's 5,000 years old, and humans and dinosaurs existed at the same time. And I was just like,
flabbergasted.
I don't know if the math checks there. Oh, like,
No.
wait, what? And then the more people you convert to Christianity, the bigger your house in heaven. And there was a picture of mansions with a golden road in heaven. And I was just like, so when people ask
Congratulations, Catholics. This
like,
is your religion.
that was Christianity, which they all think they're the same, different, blah, 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 they're all fighting over it. I just can't. That's why when people ask me, like, why don't you approach, like, the Christian arguments against some of the stuff, like creationalism and the earth only being 5,000 years old? And it's like, because I already know what they're going to say. I believed it once, right? So I already know the counter arguments because they're the counter arguments I used.
Yeah.
And I know there's no winning.
No, there's not.
There's no winning, so I don't even bother.
No,
I'm
exactly.
like, no.
Ultimately, as insane as I think it is, it's someone's faith.
Plus, I don't want to mess it up, right? Because
Go
like
for it.
most people, their faith just keeps them good and they're decent and whatever. They don't like shove it down anyone's throat. So I'm like, why would I want to ruin it for the people who are having a good time? When I start to get upset is when you try to tell me like science isn't real.
Yes, exactly.
And the earth is 5,000 years old and you're going to hell because you weren't baptized because of some weird eating Jesus' skin ritual.
And the blood and all.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, okay, now you lost me.
Yeah.
You were okay before, and you're like, be a good person. Jesus said do this. That seems like good advice.
That was one of the questions I asked the four of us when we had a hangout the other day.
I've been thinking about it ever since.
And I completely forgot. I had asked if Does everybody here think that religion has actually done more good than bad for the world? And by that
And
I
none
mean,
of us agreed.
and that, yeah,
None of us
somebody
agreed. That was
said by
cool.
far it's been good, and the other
Yeah.
person said by far it's been bad.
That
As
was
in,
me.
has there been more destruction and murders and
Yeah.
killings in the world in the name of religion,
Yeah.
or has it kept most people good? And I actually
Yup.
agree. I think it's actually done more damage. I think a
do.
lot of people inherently, maybe this is too positive of a way to think about it, have empathy enough to not kill without a religion telling me
them
I
not
shouldn't.
to. I don't know if you've ever. I've read all of those books, all of them, and
Like the Bibles?
Old Testament,
Okay.
oh my God, I forget. I mean, I read the Quran in the original Arabic because the vowels are there. When you learn
Oh.
Arabic, the Quran's like one of the few adult books that has the vowels.
Because it normally doesn't.
Yeah,
They normally don't.
it's just the
Gotcha.
easier book to read. I would say out of all of them, the New Testament is the most fun because Jesus is the least hateable character. You're just kind of like, seems like a cool dude.
Yeah. I
Seems like a
genuinely
cool
feel
dude.
like bro had the right intentions.
Yeah, he did. He was
But
like,
in
hey,
the-
don't worship me.
But in the name of
You know?
him, it's caused so much damage to the world. But all
yeah.
of them are so biased against women. Clearly.
Yes,
Stoning your
they
daughter
all share that in
doesn't say shit
common.
about your son
They all
in the same way.
Oh,
So,
well, some of the boys aren't saved either.
Yeah.
Like some of the whole oh my God, who's the guy that brought his son up? Solomon brought his son up to the mountain to sacrifice his kid. And then an angel came down and was like, LOL, JK.
oh, yeah.
And then can you imagine being the kid?
I just remember a Family Guy cutaway. They're both walking down the hill,
Yeah.
and the son is like, Dad, what the fuck?
Yeah, because you're like, well, now your relationship's ruined.
Yeah.
So there's weird, I don't know. It just, it becomes bastardized when you're in school for it, and the teachers can take whatever liberties they want.
Sure.
And they brainwash these kids into believing stuff that's not even in the Bible or whatever their book is. And then you grow up and you have to like unravel it. And you're like, when we did the Strange and Suspicious, and one of the guys was very religious.
Yeah, I remember.
And I knew immediately because he said revelation and not revelation. Yeah, and he didn't pluralize it. Because everybody says, well, in Revelations, there's no
Yeah.
S. And he said in
Gotcha.
Revelation, I was like,
Oh, shit.
I see you.
Let me keep my mouth shut now.
Identified.
Yeah, right.
You know, and I was like, oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be legit. He's going to know his stuff.
He's gonna know stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't pushing it down anyone's throat.
No,
It's like,
exactly.
normal
He brought it
person.
up when we talked about certain religious
Yeah,
things.
there's a clip that I'm going to put in. But one of the best explanations of it was that comedian to Stephen Colbert, where he's like, if you destroyed all scientific evidence right now and all religious texts, right, in 1,000 years, they're going to slowly rediscover all the scientific texts because it's the same laws.
Yeah.
But the religious texts, they're gone.
They're
That's
gone.
it. They're never coming back.
They were written by man.
Yeah.
Because science is discovering the truth about your natural world.
Yeah.
We will figure it out.
Observations.
Yes.
And the other clip that I love is Caleb Heron, the comedian. Love him. You know him if you saw it. But he was describing when he was in school and he was told, well, what about the people in, islands and they're tribal and they have no interaction? Like, how are they supposed to know about Jesus? Because if you don't get baptized, you go to hell.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to know about it if they're isolated? And the teacher told him, you would know about Jesus in the wind. And he was cracking up. He's like, I definitely wouldn't. And you're just like, yeah, they're like, God will find a way to you.
Well, no, they don't.
And I'm like, okay, but isn't it weird that like the majority of a specific religion is geographical? That you're born into it? Like, doesn't that right off the bat kind of seem like not a law of nature?
No,
that,
not at all. That's always the problem I've had with it too. So let's say people who've done amazing things for humanity. Like off the top of my head, maybe like Gandhi. Not everyone agrees with that. That's not my battle to fight. But overall,
No.
people think he did good for at least India and part of the world with the nonviolent stuff and all. This dude, obviously born Hindu, so he's going to hell just because he wasn't born
baptized.
into the religion.
You have to be baptized. I'm going to hell. I was never baptized.
Oh, that's right.
That's how I was so like.
So as a non-consenting baby, you have to be dunked underwater.
You can do it
to
as
be
an adult
saved?
too, and it still counts. But the thing is I never
get
really
outta
wanted to
here.
do it because I wasn't really like buying it.
Yeah.
But I was still in Catholic. At this point, I was in Catholic school, and that was treated differently in church because I wasn't baptized.
Gotcha.
You're not allowed to go up and like get communion if.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
You know what? You know what you have to do? You have to. So when there's a line, there's like a Congo line up to the priest,
Stands up to
right?
get wasted.
And everybody else does this. I had to do this and keep my head down. I wasn't allowed to maintain eye contact because I wasn't worthy.
Yeah.
And they have to basically forgive you for being a sinner and all this other shit while everybody else and when you're 10 or 11 years old, it's just traumatizing.
Gotcha.
Because you're like, oh, cool, I'm a second-class citizen in Catholicism, and I'm going. Not only that, but I'm actually going to die and burn in hell.
Yeah.
Cool, that's fun.
Great.
This is the argument I have with a lot of religious people versus science. you still have to leave space in your head for here's what I would need to believe it's true. I do have a list. If these things happen or I see them or interact with them, I will believe the Bible's real from start to finish. Like, I leave space for that possibility.
Sure.
The problem is when you talk to people who do not agree with you on anything and you say, what do I need to provide you to convince you of the truth I am portraying? And they'd be like, nothing. Nothing could convince me. That's when you have the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when you have the problem.
You're not even open-minded
I'm
enough,
even leaving space for like things that I consider like wizardry and Harry Potter magic.
Yeah, totally.
I'm still leaving space for that because do I think you're going to be able to provide me this? No.
No.
But I'm leaving space for it just in
yeah,
case.
Yeah.
And they will not.
And then it's like,
that's my issue.
But then why are you even here? And I say that in the context of even like Griffith, when people come up there and they're just ready to fight. And I'm like, I don't get paid enough for this. So absolutely not.
Astral project.
Yeah.
OBE.
And
bye.
Like, where is she right now? I'm just glazed. Like she'll be back in 5
Dude,
minutes.
I would have to be drunk to do that job. Could be real with you.
Yeah, I know. Again, I'm harping on the worst of the worst. Most people are great. Yeah, but obviously the shitty people stand out.
Yes.
And the closed-minded people. And you're coming to a science museum. This is where you ask fun questions.
That's where they want to fight.
Yeah.
But remember, if they believed what I had believed as a child, the more people you convert, the better life is for you in the afterlife. Not all of them, but I'm saying that is one of the things that you can be taught.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm fun at Thanksgiving, dude. I'm so fun because half of my family is like hard religion.
I've never known what that's like, so it's fascinating
not
for
fun.
me. No, I can't imagine. It's just going to cause, it's like fighting about politics. I like arguing. Most of my family do fall a bit center left. So we're not extreme libs by any means.
Yeah.
My sister's fiance grew up in Ohio, and he's open-minded, tends to, in certain things, fall left, but also quite right at times, like right side of the spectrum. And we just get into fights over holidays, and it's fun.
Really?
And it's fun.
Oh, it's fun, though. Yeah,
but it's kind of fun.
Okay,
like, we get bored at times, so we're like, should we just fight about politics?
I mean, that's
and
fun.
So, yeah.
That's different, though, than, like, my mom wanted me so bad to show up a day early because my aunt, who believes that America controls the weather, and my mom can't. With her. My mom's not a scientist by any means or anything like that, but she's like, I just don't,
Common
that
sense.
doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because she's like, what do I say? My mom's like, she always wants to talk about this stuff and I don't know what to say. And I'm like, honestly, it's tough. You're kind of out of your element. You might as well just like let her rant.
Can I please go get more wine?
It's probably the easiest thing to do. Like if I were there, oh yeah, sure, I have a whole tactic. I'd be like, what is weather? That's always how you have to start these things. Tell me
start
what
with the bigger picture.
Weather is. And that's when you really start to undermine their confidence.
Yeah.
Which is, you do it in a way where I'm not trying to hurt you. Yeah. I'm just trying to like point out, just spit everywhere, point out the flaws in your argument by starting at the base level, which is your ego.
That's the thing. Because most people, they're just using talking points that they heard somewhere else. Yeah. And so when you actually challenge that to like a deeper level, they don't really know what to say.
Well, because then they realize they don't actually know. Yeah. One of the things that my friend, the one that you had met, that I love what he would bring up when we were in high school, and somebody just thought he was like the smartest shit or whatever. And I remember my friend was like, tell me how a light bulb works. And he never talks. He's very quiet. Like he's a very quiet dude. And just out of nowhere, he was like, tell me how a light bulb works. And the guy looked at him and was like, well, with electricity. And he was like, yeah, but how does it light up?
Yeah.
Where's the light coming from? And like slowly but surely, he was undermining the dude's confidence in what he was saying. And the guy just was like, well, you don't understand. He just like stormed off. And I was like, damn, that's a good tactic.
That is a good tactic. Yeah.
I've been doing it ever since.